Please wait. Detonation aborted. Voice print and name confirmed. Access granted. Thank you.
You're not fucking welcome.
I'm sorry for the theatrics, Constantia.
Willem?
But I needed to be sure that only you could open this laptop. It's me, Willem. Uncle Willem, I suppose. Although I haven't been much of an uncle to you over the years. But I hope this message I left for you will go some way to forgiveness. If you sing this, I'm dead. And your father is probably the one who killed me. Yes. Your father is alive. His death was a lie that we are forced to tell you for reasons I will explain. I need you to understand everything that I'm about to tell you, because yours and your mother's lives will depend on it. As you know, I was an archivist for the council. Mostly, I was charged with translating ancient texts from the Second Ago into modern language. A lot of these texts came from a series of books that detailed the vampire rise and evolution throughout the ages. But 200 years ago, I found some of those books held introductions on dark rituals, which have been now outlawed. The reasons for them being outlawed has never been given, and most of the references to these rituals had been destroyed. Except for one. The one I translated before I fully realized what it was. Someone had been very clever in hiding this ritual in a number of texts. A sentence in one book, a phrase in another. By themselves they made no sense and seemed to be just ramblings and gibberish. That was until I made the connection and started combining them together. Even then it wasn't complete, but it was enough to tell me where it was. It was a mortality ritual. Vampires live for a long time, but we are not immortal. To humans we seem everlasting, but compared with our short lifespan, it seemed better to allow them to assume we were immortal. It gave us an edge over them, and made them easier to seduce and turn, I suppose. Nobody is ever going to pass up the chance to live forever, especially not a human. You have to understand, Constantia. Back then, the war with the werewolves was in full swing. Blood was flowing freely on both sides, and the danger of being overrun is a very real possibility. So, fighting this seemed to be a divine intervention, if such a thing could exist for vampires. I took my findings to the king and queen, your mother and father. Your mother was the wisest of us all, and recognized the danger immediately. Even with all of my years of study, I didn't see it. Your mother ordered the text, and my notes destroyed. I was loyal to my queen, and aimed to do as she ordered. your father, he couldn't let it go. He came to me and begged me not to do, and instead give them to him. He was my brother, Constantia. I loved him and trusted him and his reasons. Your father felt that the end was near for us all. With the war, and he wanted to protect you with every fiber of his being. He saw the ritual as a way of doing this, so that even if anything were to happen to himself and your mother, you would survive and be safe. I agreed with that, and made copies of everything before destroying the originals. As far as your mother was concerned, her orders and wishes had been obeyed, and the matter was closed. But behind her back, your father and I continued to study and prepare things. During a secret study, we found that an ancient dagger called the Blood Tide was crucial to whole ritual. Without it, nothing would work. The Blood Tide itself wasn't hard to find, as it had been hidden in plain sight all the time. It had been broken into two halves and used to make the centerpieces on both your mother and father's crowns. The reason for it being used as a part of the crown was one I didn't find out until it was almost too late. But I have to tell you these events in order so that you fully understand. I managed to successfully remove the halves, and with time managed to recombine them. When I did, an inscription appeared along the blade. It was in a very ancient tongue, so I copied it, but wasn't able to translate it straight away. I handed the dagger over to your father, and he told me that in 3 days from them, he would perform the ritual on you. We had decided that the old keep at the south ends of the grounds would be the best place for it, as it had been partially destroyed in the early part of the war by the werewolves, and so it was deserted and out of your mother's sight, so to speak. On the very night we were going to do it finally, I managed to translate the inscription on the blade. It was a warning. The ritual grants the subject immortality, but at the expense of their present and future bloodline. For it to work, the person performing the ritual has to recite the words exactly. Then at the right moment, they would have to use the dagger to cut themselves, and with the blood on the blade they would have to plunge into the subject's chest. The subject would essentially die, but only for a moment. A bloodline bond would be created, and that would be when all of the life from every member of the subject's bloodline would be drained and transferred into them. But that's only part of it. The ritual is able to detect life potential energy. In short, the ability to have children. It makes the subject sterile. It's the ritual's curse to have every member of your family die around you, and to never be able to have one of your own. I told your father this, but he was so consumed with keeping you safe, he wouldn't listen. I thought the sacrifices would be worth it. He went to get you, and we fought. He was too strong for me. After he downed me, he went to you, and I rushed to your mother to confess and tell her everything. When I told her what was going on, she was enraged and would have killed me there and then, if not for her concern for you. Your mother instructed Richter to send out the guard to find you both. I told her that wouldn't be necessary, as I knew where your father would be taking you. And so your mother, myself, and Richter set off to the keep. When we got there, the ritual was nearly complete. You were laying on an altar passed out, and your father was reciting the words.